let's stick with the subject of military spending, because that's been at the top of the agenda at a security meeting in Singapore. There, the US Defense Secretary says the US fully intends to counter China's increasing military dominance. Now let's go straight there live to listen to Pete Hegseth if we can. So this is the summit taking place in Singapore, the Shangri-la summit, and we're expecting to hear from Pete Hegseth there. And as I said, he's been talking about how the US fully intends to counter China's increasing military dominance.
A meeting we've been looking forward to from the beginning of this gathering. We've got a lot of friends and allies and partners here, but none closer than this group. None more strategically positioned to manifest deterrence, to bring about peace. That is our shared goal. That's what we talk about when the cameras are here. That's what we talk about when the cameras are not here. Yes. Is the cooperation that we uniquely bring together, the coordination, the interoperability, the exercises, in the face of what we all would fairly describe as an unprecedented military buildup by China, and the requirement of our countries to stand together bilaterally, trilaterally, as a quad, to represent our interests and do so strongly in pursuit of peace. So we look forward to a robust, candid discussion, as always, going around the table, and we welcome all four countries to represent some opening remarks in front of the press.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Sitting around this table are four countries which have
So that's some of the words from Pete Hegseth there. He talked about peace being a shared goal and the need for cooperation, and he reiterated the message that he's been getting across in his time there this weekend, which is about what he calls the unprecedented military build-up by China. And he earlier I spoke to our correspondent who's there in Singapore for the Defence Summit, who did mention that she wasn't aware of evidence put forward for that claim by Pete Hegseth, but that is the message that he has been getting across. And I can tell you a little bit about what he said a little bit earlier, which is about the warning that China is rehearsing for a possible invasion of Taiwan. And just to give you a warning about flash photography there.
We do not seek conflict with Communist China. We will not instigate nor seek to subjugate or humiliate. President Trump and the American people have an immense respect for the Chinese people and their civilization. Any attempt by Communist China to conquer Taiwan by force would result in devastating consequences for the Indo-Pacific and the world. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. The threat China poses is real, and it could be imminent. We hope not, but it certainly could be.
So US Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth speaking a little bit earlier there, and as I mentioned, and as you heard a little bit earlier, he reiterated that message in those live scenes from the summit. And I asked our correspondent in Singapore, Suranjana Tewar, a little bit earlier about what the evidence is there for the claims that Mr Hegseth's making.
Well, that's not clear. He didn't explain where that's coming from, but it was the strongest statement yet from the US Defense Secretary since he took office in January. And as we just heard, he was saying that China's threat is very real, and as far as planning a potential invasion of Taiwan, it's the real deal. That was what he was quoted as saying. Now, this is really interesting because this is Asia's premier defense summit. There are military leaders, heads of states, really senior diplomats all coming together to meet, to have that military-to-military dialogue that's so important. And he really sort of put the onus on powers in the region, in the Asia-Pacific, to increase their defense spending in order to try and balance out about what China is trying to do and China's increasing influence in the region. He said, look at Europe. Because of Ukraine, all the countries there have increased their defense spending, and Asia needs to do the same, not only because China is such a real threat, but also because North Korea is in this region as well.
And Suranjana, as you say, strong words from the US Defence Secretary there, but what has the response been from China to those comments?
Well, actually, China has not sent a high-level delegation to this summit, which is really interesting. It's the first time since 2019 that a defense minister has not actually come. They've sent a lower-level delegation, an academic delegation, and what a lot of delegates have told us is that in a time when there are rising tensions with China over tariffs or over maritime disputes in the South China Sea, partners, the US, they're not able to get in the room with the Chinese delegation in order to try and discuss what's going on and try and have that military-to-military dialogue, which is so important. Interestingly as well, Europe has a very big delegation here. President Macron of France gave the keynote speech yesterday, and he also said that Europe could be a partner to the Asia-Pacific. It could offer some of the things that the US perhaps has offered in the past. Pete Hegseth, the US Defense Secretary, said something similar as well. He said the US is very committed to the region and it wants to support and provide military capabilities in order to empower regions in this part of the world to be able to face any challenges that it might face going forward.
Our correspondent Suranjana Tewar at that summit there in Singapore, and we'll bring you any more lines and updates and developments from that important security summit there as they come through. Now, Donald Trump has told a rally at a